Hi, I'm Kyle Ingham from the Distilled Man, and up next we're going to show you another skill that every man should know, how to carve a chicken. Now, there's nothing quite as mouth-watering as a freshly roasted chicken, but carving it can sometimes seem a little bit daunting if you don't know what you're doing. The good news is that it's actually not that hard once you get the hang of it. So I guarantee you, once you learn how to carve a chicken, you'll be roasting and carving chickens all the time. It's a great meal for when company come over. It looks amazing, and it's really just dead simple. But even better, once you learn how to carve a chicken, you can carve a duck, and you can even graduate up to carving your Thanksgiving turkey. The technique is really the same. All right, so this is a 5-pound chicken, and I've roasted it for a couple hours at 350. And I've basted it a few times with a mixture of olive oil, salt, pepper, garlic, and a little bit of fresh thyme. So it smells amazing. So to carve the bird, some people might try and use a butcher's knife and kind of just like hack through everything. But the problem with that is that you'll get some bones, some bone fragments here and there, and ultimately you end up dulling your knife. So I just like to try to use a really sharp chef knife like this. So I'm going to start by cutting pretty much to the right of the breastbone. And I'm kind of using the knife to feel for the rib bones and cut the breast away from the bones. Sometimes it can take a few cuts to separate the breast from the ribs. Now I'm going to cut the skin around the breast so that it separates from the bird and still stays on, so that the skin is on the breast when I remove it. The skin is very tasty. And as I pull the breast off, I'm kind of using its own weight as a way to find that last bit to cut and separate the final bit from the carcass. And there you have a neat little chicken breast with the skin still intact. You know, whether your guests like to eat it with the skin on or not, I just like to give them the option. Now, I'm going to follow the same process with the breast on the left side. So now I'm going to separate the thigh joint from the carcass, and that's going to give us both the thigh and the drumstick. And sometimes the thigh joint can be a little bit difficult to find. So, you know, rather than making myself crazy and fishing around with the knife, sometimes I just get my hands in there and feel for it. And then if you sort of bend the thigh away from the carcass, sometimes it makes it a little easier for you to find that spot to put your knife. If you do this, and you find the joints, you really shouldn't be having to cut through bone. When you cut in the right spot, the knife goes through pretty easily. Again, using that same process on the other side, first breaking the joint with my hands, and then kind of using the knife to easily cut through it. For the wings, sometimes I find it's easier to get to the joints if you flip the bird over. This also helps with the thighs as well sometimes. But by picking up the wing and kind of moving it slightly, I can kind of get a better idea of where that joint is, so I can cut through it without hitting bone. And of course, I'll repeat that for the other side. So as you can see, I removed all the major parts of the chicken from the carcass, 6 pieces in total. And then of course, once we separate the drumstick from the thigh, it'll be 8 pieces total. But it's basically left us with the carcass. I have to say, one of the biggest treats of roasting a chicken and the secret pleasure of the chef is being able to pick the carcass on a freshly roasted chicken. Being able to grab some of those little nibbles off the carcass when it's still warm. I mean, it's a lot like, you know, eating freshly baked cookies right out of the oven. It's like, oops, I guess I wasn't able to pull all the meat off the bird. I'll just go ahead and put it in my mouth. No, but the great thing is, as you're picking this off, you can save these sort of spare parts, these little scraps here and there. They're great for the next day if you're gonna make like tacos or pasta or like a burrito or something like that. They're great filler for that kind of thing. So now, just to make these pieces a little bit easier to eat, I'm gonna go ahead and separate the thigh from the drumstick. Just like with cutting the wing off, sometimes flipping it over can help you find where that point is that you need to cut through. Okay, now I'm just gonna lay the parts out on the platter and sort of present them. And I'm just going to add a little bit of fresh thyme for garnish. Really adds a nice look to the bird and adds a nice bit of extra aromatic punch with each bite. Well, that's it. That's how you carve a chicken. So go out and roast yourself a chicken and give it a try. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please hit like below. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to the Distilled Man YouTube channel by hitting this button right here. And if you haven't already gotten a copy of my ebook, click on screen right now and get your free copy. Thanks again for watching, and until next time.